Right?
Yeah.
Unless Bill starts talking about something.
Everybody.
I wasn't gonna say it. so I think we're ready.
Call to order the Historic Preservation Commission meeting for Wednesday, March 6th. A roll call vote, please, by
Commissioner
voice.
Barkley? Here. Commissioner Weinberger is absent. Commissioner Gonzalez is absent. Commissioner Harlow?
Here.
Commissioner Prisby?
Here.
Commissioner Elder?
Here.
Chairman Bowman?
Here. Okay, approval of the minutes from the February 7th meeting. Have you all had a chance to go through those?
Yep, I'll move to approve the minutes from February 7th, 2024.
Second, please.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Barkley? Aye. Commissioner Harlow?
Abstain.
Commissioner Prisby?
Aye.
Commissioner Elder?
Aye.
Chairman Bowman?
Aye. Minutes are approved. The first item on our agenda is a public hearing. Case HPC-4-2024. Consideration of properties for inclusion on the historically significant structures property list in the Historic Overlay District. Round 7. Seeing no one in the audience who's going to speak, this is the 7th list of properties brought forward for review by the Historic Preservation Commission. Do we have a motion to open the public hearing, please?
I'll move to open the public hearing.
Second, please.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Commissioner Barkley? Aye. Commissioner Harlow?
Aye.
Commissioner Prisby?
Aye.
Commissioner Elder?
Aye.
Chairman Bowman?
Aye. Again, no one in the audience is in attendance, so we will hand this over to Bethany to give us a brief overview of the review process.
So this is our third round of properties for inclusion on our historically significant structures list. Before us tonight, we have 7 properties that are being brought forward for consideration. Historic information was included on each of these in the packet, and we'll go through those. I did provide all the commissioners with an extra packet of information that we got after the packets were published for 42 South Quincy Street. We'll include this for the board packet, but I'd like to note that we provided that for the record as we got it right after the packets were printed. So tonight, we are going to have the Historic Preservation Commission review each individual property, as we've done before, presented at this public hearing, and determine if each property possesses one or more of the criteria set forth in section 14-7-3-B of our village code. It needs to meet at least one criteria. It doesn't need to meet them all, but we need to at least evaluate one for them to be recommended for inclusion on the list to the village board. Then once a property is approved, they'd be eligible to apply for any of our preservation incentives. So unless there's any other questions about the process, I can start going through each of the properties.
Perfect.
Okay. So the first home on our list for inclusion tonight and for consideration is 546 North County Line Road. This is a single-family home in the R4 district. And this is a really exciting house because we actually, through researching and working with the Historical Society, were able to find the original building permits, which does verify it's an original Sears home, a Sears catalog home. And this is kind of an interesting case. We weren't able to verify the model, but there was quite a bit of back and forth between which model it might be. And then the Historical Society did provide quite a bit of extra information that was included in the packet about some of the history. It does look like at some point maybe the front porch was enclosed, and there was a rear addition at some point as well. This is a really interesting case where the homeowner is actually, and this was included in the packet, the homeowner is actually doing an addition to the house right now. They're not planning on applying for any preservation incentives, as they wouldn't be eligible because construction has started. But we did include them because they've spent a lot of time trying to actually, put plans together in an architectural design that actually increases some of the historic preservation and changes that have been done to that front facade. So we included that in the packet because obviously this is an ongoing thing and we have an addition ongoing as this is part of the inclusion.
So we won't be voting on this house because it isn't,
We would not be getting a preservation incentive agreement for that, or an application for this. They're not asking for any of the grants, any of the property tax rebates, or any of the alternative zoning, nothing that they're asking for. But they are
you want to be
working on this
included,
right now.
included
Yeah.
in the list.
But they would like to be on the list, and
Right.
obviously we want to take those changes into consideration if it was
Right.
to be added.
Right.
So we haven't had a property like this before.
Well, I think both 3 and 5 apply on the list.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Jim.
I'm sorry, I think 3 and 5 apply because of the method of construction with the Sears house. And obviously for the architectural and natural history.
Okay?
Yep, I agree.
Okay. Well, we'll move on to the next house, if this will let me. Okay.
It's fun having all this background.
Yeah, I will say, and I should have said up top, we've been getting really great reports from the Historical Society. And just in case anyone's listening, I believe they will put these reports together for homeowners for maybe $40 or $50. And it's a really great amount of research that they put into this. And like I said, they go back and look at, the history of the property in terms of the deeds and the mortgages, and they've done just a great job. And it's really, this is our 7th round, but even in how these packets looked just less than a year ago, they've really become more of a full history report. So they've been wonderful to work with.
Not only nice for us, but it's nice for the homeowner to have the provenance.
Yes, and it is really in-depth. I'm really excited to show you guys another report that came later that was really amazing, so. Okay,
Bethany, I have a question for you
Yeah.
along those lines. They're providing a lot of this research. Are we providing them with these packets as we approve them? So they can have these in their archives?
yes, so all of these will be posted online, and what we've been doing is, the Historical Society always can come and look at our files as well. I've been trying to send them some things as well, like the permit from the property we just looked at. But they really are truly the historians, and they have actually access to probably better information than us. But there have been a couple of times where we will send them what we have as well. So they're just a little bit better at doing what they do.
No, I know. It just seems to me that if, you're asking for this and it comes in from them
Yep.
sort of piecemeal, and then you assemble it all,
Yeah,
it just would be, I'm old school 20th century, but I could even see like a binder put together of all this stuff, of all the homes that have been researched.
yep. And one thing I know we talked about some time ago was putting something on the website of all of our homes and all the individual, history of the properties that we have. We just haven't had some time to do that
Yeah.
quite yet.
Okay.
But I would like to do that at some point so that someone could easily find a property and pull that information on their own.
Thank you.
Okay. So the next house on our list up for consideration is 4 East Fifth Street. It's in the R1 Single Family Zoning District, single family house. This house is also called the Frank D. Danielson House, the common name, because one of its first inhabitants was Frank D. Danielson, who was a former village manager of Hinsdale in the 1920s, and kind of a big deal in terms of civil engineering back then. One thing that we included in the packet was some writings of his, as well as, some of the amazing work he did with creating a really well-known municipal ice plant in Hinsdale back in the day, which is kind of an interesting read. Past surveys found this house is historically significant, largely because it's also constructed by our Harold Zook, who's quite well-known. And so quite a bit of information was included in the packet.
Lots seem to apply here. 2, 3, 4, 6, number of them.
I'd add 5 to that as well.
Yeah.
So 2 through 6.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yes.
Okay? Any other comments?
Now, this house is going to be renovated by its present owner. It's a project house, so it's going to be another nice zook in town
That
that
would
we can
be- yep,
all
that would-
relate to.
That would hopefully be the intent. It's a really great house, and if you look through the packet, I know there's a lot of vines on the house right now, so it's hard to, in some of the photos, see some of the zook detailing, but the Hinsdale Historical Society did have some old photos that you can kind of see more of the Tudor zook revival style. Okay. All right. So the third property up for inclusion on our list is 122 North Park Street. And let me get to this. So this house is considered the Ellen Warren House. There's some information here from the Historical Society that was also provided by the homeowner on her. And we have some past surveys that rated this house significant and contributing. There have been some minor changes to the house, such as a rear addition in 1955 and a rear screen porch. There's a nice write-up on the history of the house, also in Mary Sterling's book, Hinsdale Historic Homes and the People Who Lived in Them. And it's on Park Street, which has a very nice brick street in front of it. So it did in the past, I believe the year was 1996 when they did that rear addition. The Hinsdale Historical Society did grant them with a preservation award back then.
It's interesting that this still is considered a Victorian with that roof shape.
Yeah, I think it's, per one of the more recent surveys, they called it a gambrel front versus a Victorian. But it's hard to know, how it's been classified depending on who you ask.
I'd probably apply number 3 to that. That's about it.
Agreed.
Okay.
Agreed.
All right, so the next house on our list is 42 South Quincy Street. This is the house that I mentioned earlier where we got the additional information from the Historical Society after. It is believed that this is a Sears home. We did find the original permit, but it's a little unclear. And it's where you see kind of who the architect is, it's kind of dashed out, which makes you kind of think that it's some sort of catalog home. And we did include some preliminary information in this packet of it could be some sort of modification of the Crescent home. There were some examples here. From the 1999 survey, though, it was considered significant, and it was built in 1927 as a craftsman style. There's been a couple of exterior changes where they added a second floor rear building addition in 2015, and some additional information was provided by the homeowner. The homeowner actually got in contact, and that's why there's so many great photos in here where you can see some of the original architectural details. But the homeowner got in contact with some of the family that lived here in the 40s and 50s. So you can see they provided some great old photos where a lot of the facade of the house from the 40s has not really been altered that much. So it's in pretty good shape.
Three again? Oh, 3?
I'd agree with 3, yeah.
Okay.
It's a good example of that style of architecture.
Yeah, it's a very unique house. Okay. The next house up for consideration is 200 Ravine Road. This is one of the really interesting, if you haven't had a chance to read it, reports that were put together by the Hinsdale Historical Society, because they pulled up a lot of information on some of the former tenants and residents that lived here. House is considered significant and potentially significant per past surveys. It's thought that it was built in the 1925. It's got kind of a Tudor revival craftsman style. And if it's out of scope right now, but there's kind of another very similar unique home just next door. I don't know if they have the same architects, but they kind of have a similar stucco style. There was a rear side addition constructed in 1982 for this house. And like I said, this is what the Historical Society was able to dig up. The house was once the former residence of Frances Elizabeth Coates. She was an opera singer. She was heavily involved in a lot of civic and musical organizations in Chicago, but also in Hinsdale. And she has ties to Ernest Hemingway. There were some really great articles in here where she had some love letter connections with him when she was younger. So kind of a very interesting digging up. And if you go to the Hinsdale Historical Society's website, they did put a blog post together on her, and you can actually go listen to her opera singing in some of the links that they have online. So I couldn't include that in the packet, but
It's a neat house.
Well, perhaps criterion number 5 applies if there's significance for local culture.
I think you could also argue 2
2 might be,
Thinking 2
yeah, 2 might be a better one.
and 3. Yeah,
2 and 3.
okay, so 2, 3, and 5. Okay, any other comments? All right. So the next house on our list is 565 North Washington Street. We believe this house was constructed in 1922. It's a single-family home in the R4 district. We were able to find less documentation on this house, but it clearly features the colonial revival style. The major changes that we've seen is that there were some dormers added to the front in 1985, and a rear addition was constructed in 1989. The rear addition, you can't see it in the photos, but does well match the building. And, we were able to find some records, but not as much on this property.
What do you think?
pretty much number 3.
Yeah, that's about it.
3.
That's about it.
All right, number 3, if there's no other comments. The last house up for inclusion on our list is 615 South Washington Street. It's a single-family home in the R4 district. We believe this was constructed around 1895, so it's one of the older homes that still stands today. It's considered significant per our 1999 reconnaissance survey and the Robbins Park 2 survey. It has some exterior changes, minimal, that were made, like a small rear building addition in 2010 that you won't see in the photos here, although we have some of the plans for. And per the past historic survey from 2007, it does mention that there may have been some alterations to the front porch railings. But it is one of our oldest house. It's been classified as having some Queen Anne details and a gable front cottage style. So there was some information here included from the Robbins Park survey, and we did find it on Sanborn maps. And interestingly, this property still does not have a garage, even as it did in 1895.
Wow.
Go with number 3 again.
Got a railing to tie the horse to.
All right. So with that, that concludes all the 7 properties, unless there's any final questions or comments. There's no members of the public here, so we can move forward with any additional comments and then close the public hearing and then have a motion.
Any Anybody have anything else to say? Can we have a motion to close the public hearing, please?
I'll move to close the public hearing.
Second, please.
Second?
Roll call vote.
Commissioner Barkley?
Aye.
Commissioner Harlow?
Aye.
Commissioner Prisby?
Aye.
Commissioner Elder?
Aye.
Chairman Bonin?
Aye. Okay. Seeing nobody here from the public, we'll move to any new business.
Oh, I think we still need,
Are we under situation one?
yep,
Oh,
we're
sorry
to
about that.
recommend, and I'm happy to read the list off as well.
Thank you.
Yep. So we need a motion for recommending approval. But I'm off the record. Nope, not yet.
Because we closed the public hearing? No? Okay. Wait, I gotta go get that. Confused me with closing the other.
Need a motion? Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, we need a motion to recommend to the village board.
Okay, then I will move to recommend to the village board approval of the following properties for inclusion on the historically significant structures property list in the historic overlay district under case HPC-4-2024. The addresses are 546 North County Line Road, 4 East 5th Street, 122 North Park Avenue, 42 South Quincy Street, 200 Ravine Road, 565 North Washington Street, and 615 South Washington Street.
Second, please.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Barkley?
Aye.
Commissioner Harlow?
Aye.
Commissioner Prisby?
Aye.
Commissioner Elder?
Aye.
Chairman Bonin?
Aye. Now our public hearing is closed. We're at new business. Is there any new business that we need to talk about? Old business. Anything new on Title 14 status update?
Staff has been working with the village attorney on looking at some options that we've discussed in the past for actually revising Title 14. We've been talking about the requirement for the preliminary meetings ahead of time, as well as an appeal process to the village board. So we are hoping to have something at the coming village board meeting or the following village board meeting. So something should be out there pretty shortly.
Good. Anything on our gateway signs?
So we have decided to hire Parvin Klaus, who is the one that actually fabricated the signs after reviewing quite a few quotes from other sign contractors. So the status right now is we are working through getting that contract signed, some of the more legal items of things, but we should hopefully have that ready to go, and I'll keep you guys posted once we have a date and everything. The next steps, though, are once we have the whole contract signed, we'll have the 6 areas that we've decided to go forward with for this period of time surveyed and done, duly done. We'll determine final locations. We will send out some letters to some of the adjacent properties just so they know what's being planned and inform them of the new signage. And then we'll have kind of a date set for when everything will be installed. So I don't
Great.
have any of those dates yet, but it's coming soon.
Good.
So, yeah.
Okay. 6th Street, anything that we need to talk about on 6th Street? Anything new?
I have
Nope.
no updates.
Just briefly, the residents group was successful in getting this project pushed back to 2025 rather than 2024. And we are waiting to get firm estimates. They're not going to be official bids, but firm estimates at the next village board meeting on the 19th of March. Hopefully that will come through, and then we'll know what we're actually talking about in terms of dollars. And then we'll figure out how to move forward. The village is asking that the residents group let the village know what we would like to do by the 1st of July.
gotten involved in our sign code update.
No.
Yeah.
One day, shortly, one day
Yeah,
soon.
one day it will come. Is there anything else that we need to talk about? Sarah, anything else? Anybody else?
Yep.
I guess I would ask for a motion for adjournment, please.
Move to adjourn?
Second?
On a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Barclay?
Aye.
Bob? Commissioner Harlow?
Aye.
Commissioner Frisbee?
Aye.
Commissioner Elder?
Aye.
Chairman Bonin?
Aye, meeting is adjourned.